This morning on DC News Now, cold start out there. This is a view of the feels like temperatures right now, 20s to low 30s. You'll certainly want that heavier winter jacket before stepping out the door this morning. More details on when we could possibly see a little bit of a warm up in that 7-day coming up.
And then I walk and I heard the explosion from the top, really hard, really hard. Second, I see the fires coming. They yelling and crying.
Apartment explosion aftermath, where the investigation stands in Gaithersburg this morning and how neighbors are coming to grips with exactly what happened.
And the suspected shooter in court, what prosecutors have to say about the student accused of gunning down 3 classmates in Virginia.
And the future of same-sex marriage in America, where the Senate stands on passing protections this morning.
The station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Well, good morning. It is now 6 o'clock on this Thursday morning. Thanks for starting your day with us. I'm Tanaya Wright.
And I'm Corey James. Let's get right to meteorologist Jackie Lair, who's tracking your forecast this morning. And Jackie, people want to grab their coats.
Yes, the heaviest of your coats out there this morning, because we are off to a cold start, not just because of those temperatures with the thermometer, but when you factor in the winds, it's making it feel much colder than those actual air temperatures, so dress accordingly. Here's a view of those current temperatures, though. 38, we just dropped down to that in the district not too long ago. 36 in Frederick, 34, waking up to that temperature in Hagerstown, 33 in Cumberland, right at the freezing mark in Kaiser, 36 Manassas, as well as Fredericksburg, but guess what? We do have a wind and that breeze coming in, mainly out of the west-southwest, and that's between 5 to 15 miles per hour. That wind will be sticking around through the day today, so we're still going to be talking about wind chills through our Thursday afternoon. But this is a view of those feels like temperatures right now. Feeling like it's 31 in the district. It's feeling like it's into the 20s right along the I-81 corridor and areas off towards the north and west of there. Look at that, Kaiser. You're feeling like it's 22 degrees right now in that area. And not only that, radar, we did see a few snow showers passing through earlier this morning, mainly for the northernmost parts of our area. And we did also, or at least we still do, have this winter weather advisory for Garrett County, and that's until 8 a.m. this morning. That was for the threat of a few of those snow showers that will slide through there. But again, today we'll see high temperatures, low 40s, but those feels like temperatures in the 30s for much of the afternoon today. At least we have the sunshine, and that sunshine sticking around tomorrow as well. But the cold air, too, will be sticking around. But all more details coming up. Shanika's here with the latest on traffic. Any new updates?
Well, we're still on 70 heading westbound in the Frederick County area. This is near Myersville, so we do have this crash past this point right near Maryland 17, or before, rather. You're seeing some red lights there. Actually, you can kind of see some police activity. I do see some flashing lights there, so you really can't see what's going on, but there is something past this point, so do be careful out there. Let's flip over to the maps. Roads could potentially be a little bit slippery there. You're dealing with a slight delay, but you can't even see it on the maps. But do watch for police response, crews responding to that crash there. Again, that's heading west on 70, right between Maryland 17 and the Washington County line. So let's check out 270. 270 looks okay, but you will be on and off your brakes coming out of Frederick. We're still looking at DC 295. You're seeing a bunch of red there, all that congestion. We still have that crash right before Pennsylvania Avenue, so do be careful and give yourself more time.
All right, Shanika, thank you. This morning, dozens of people in Gaithersburg are waking up without a place to call home after a gas explosion partially collapsed an apartment building.
That is right. This all happened in Gaithersburg. Still a lot of questions this morning. We do have live team coverage for you this morning.
Here, Lex Juarez is live at Borough Park Activity Center, where displaced neighbors spent the night after that explosion. But first, we start with Krista Bettina, who's back at the scene along Quince Orchard Boulevard. And Christy, what do we know about what happened this morning?
Yeah, Corey, well, it's still a bit too early in this investigation to find out what exactly contributed to this fire or what caused it. But what we do know, it was a gas-fed fire that started in the basement. I want to give you a look at the scene as of this morning. You can see crews. They've been working throughout the night here to find those answers. And well into this morning, you can see that equipment, that heavy machinery has been brought in to assist with that. So here's what they're working on this morning. They're going to be focusing on stabilizing the building today so that they can hopefully get into it tomorrow on Friday. Now, security has also been provided for the complex by the Gaithersburg City Police Department. They have been on scene here patrolling around as we've seen this morning. Crews are also going to be helping residents get back into buildings 824 and 830. Those were the buildings next to where the collapse happened, to grab their personal belongings. Again, crews have been here since they got that call around 8:40 yesterday morning for a report of an explosion here in that building. Now, supplies like lights and a crane, as you just saw, were brought in last night, and that was to make sure the fire stayed contained as it was still smoldering. Here's some sound from Fire Chief Scott Goldstein. Take a listen.
Again, this building is extremely unstable. That is why you saw the heavy equipment arrive, and the darkness exponentially makes the safety issues much, much greater. That's why our crews are prepared to deal with any flare-ups of the fire tonight, and then return in the morning with a detailed plan as to how to address the building.
So that was from the last press briefing we had. That was about last night at about 5 p.m. Now, when can we expect newer information? When are we going to get an update? Goldstein said that a media briefing will be held here at 10:30 this morning. We will have a crew here to bring those latest details to you as we continue to follow this fluid, ongoing investigation. In Gaithersburg this morning, Christy Matino, DC News Now.
Thank you, Christy. And dozens of people are left without a place to live after that explosion.
Lex Juarez is live at Borough Park Activity Center this morning, where residents are finding temporary shelter. Lex, good morning.
Yeah, between 50 and 75 people were actually displaced and without a home last night because of the explosion. And while this activity center does serve as a temporary place for them to go, of course, the effects for many people will be long term. Now, there are multiple different agencies and places working to help these people. That includes the National Guard, other nonprofits, and county agencies that are working to help these people. But it's not just housing that these people need. They also need food and medicine. So while Borough Park Activity Center is set to house people for now, officials are hoping to find another spot for them within 30 days. Advocates are concerned that this has happened in a predominantly black and brown immigrant and low-income community.
Learn from why it's happening in these apartment buildings, right? But what is the population that resides in these communities, and hearing directly from those communities on what can be done to ensure that these instances don't happen again.
Now, Fire Chief Goldstein did say that no matter what your immigration status is, they are here to help people, and that's especially important. And another thing that's important to note is that the Maryland House Partners is holding a fundraiser for families in need. If you do want to help, you can look up the Maryland House Partners, and they will help to connect you to be able to get funding to these people who need help. For now, live in Gaithersburg, I'm Lex Juarez, DC News Now.
All right, Lex, thank you. And this is not the first time something like this has happened in Montgomery County. An apartment building exploded earlier this year in Silver Spring. For more coverage of past explosions and continuing coverage of what's happening in Gaithersburg, just head to our website, dcnewsnow.com.
And your time right now is coming up on 6:08 this morning. Also developing this morning, police in Hagerstown are investigating a double homicide that happened at a hotel. Police say they found 2 bodies in a hotel room at the APM Inn and Suites right on Dual Highway just before 4:30 yesterday afternoon. Police are describing this crime as targeted and deliberate. If you have any information, you're asked to call Hagerstown Police.
Your time right now is 6:08 on this Thursday morning. New details as Christopher Jones Jr., the suspect in the University of Virginia shooting, appeared in court for the first time. Now, according to the Albemarle County Commonwealth's attorney, Jim Hingley, witnesses described Jones as aiming at certain people. One of the victims, Devin Chandler, was shot while in his sleep. Hingley could not say much about the case, but did have a message for the victims' families.
We are all grieving and saddened and devastated by these events in our community. Wish that there can be comfort for the family members of the victims who died in this terrible tragedy.
Now, Jones is still being held without bond. His next court appearance is scheduled for December 8th. Prosecutors also outlined Jones's criminal past. Campus police say they accused the gunman that he had been on the school's radar since September. Our Capitol Bureau reporter Jackie DeFusco was looking into what the threat assessment team did and did not do before Sunday's tragedy.
Well, Virginia law requires every public college and university to create what's called a threat assessment team to identify and respond to possible early warning signs. I looked into UVA's policy and whether that was followed in this case.
Tonight, questions over whether red flags fell through the cracks before accused shooter Christopher Darnell Jones Jr. allegedly killed 3 UVA football players and injured 2 other students on Sunday night. Campus police say Jones was first reported for possessing a gun back in September, something UVA's threat assessment team policy lists as an example of violent behavior. Campus police say the tipster did not see the gun and there was no sign of a specific threat from Jones at the time. But during the probe, UVA officials told the Washington Post that Jones repeatedly refused to answer questions even after the investigation uncovered a previous concealed weapons conviction that Jones failed to report to the school as required. Dr. Jean Dysinger is a threat management consultant for the Virginia Center for School and Campus Safety.
Some institutions may obligate a student to cooperate with reasonable requests from campus officials. And so if a student is not following that guideline, that might be a violation of the code of conduct.
UVA's policy says failure to cooperate may result in disciplinary action, including expulsion. UVA officials previously said the disciplinary process started last month, but a school spokesperson now telling the Washington Post that the referral was not made until after the shooting this week, calling it an inadvertent mix-up.
Is it your impression that the threat assessment team did everything that they could to mitigate this potential threat?
I don't have enough knowledge about what occurred or didn't occur there to speak to that. And I would caution everyone, the investigation is still underway and we should let the facts of the circumstances drive our understanding.
UVA's threat assessment team has not responded to multiple interview requests. Reporting in Richmond, I'm Jackie DeFusco.